Hello, welcome back to my channel Conquer the Fear. In this video, we are going to learn about the CAP theorem. Let's look at what we have checked out in the previous video. If you are new to this particular video, please check out my first video on this particular series where I have explained what is NoSQL. So in previous video, what we have checked is what is NoSQL database, why it is useful, and MongoDB is the choice of NoSQL database. We are going to use it, and what MongoDB is like, it's a document based database. So that is the reason we are going to make use of this in this particular video. So let's jump into the video. So CAP theorem, let's understand what exactly is the CAP theorem and what this CAP stands for. So the very first thing is C stands for consistency, A stands for availability, and P stands for partition tolerance. Now CAP theorem is like an heart and soul of a NoSQL, where it will give you that what exactly needs to be done when it comes to having the consistency, availability, and the partition tolerance, and this how at the combination of this is forming the CAP theorem. So let's look into it. So let's look at the very first thing, that is consistency. So let's break down each one by one. So the very first thing is consistency. Now what does consistency mean? That means is that all the nodes in the network, so you see them that they are going to see the same kind of data at the very same moment or the time. So if let's say your database is distributed across multiple machines or nodes, okay, so there is a consistency which is going to ensure that every read, okay, every read that is going to return is going to read from the most recently written data only. Okay, that is first thing. Second, all the users, regardless of which they node they are connected to, what cluster they are connected to, they will definitely see the same data, not the different data. So let's say as an example, if you update some records in the database and then immediately you try to read it from another node, okay, so consistency is ensuring that you see the updated value, not the old one, not in only in one node, it across your nodes, across your cluster. So that's what consistency means about when it comes to the CAP theorem. Then let us look at the availability. So availability is going to guarantee, okay, it is going to guarantee that every request, that is whether it is read, whether it is write, it is going to receive a response, okay, no matter what. Even if it is not the recent data, it is definitely going to return. Now what does this mean is that the database is always up, it is always responsive, there is no glitch. Second, you will never get timeout, okay, or nor there will be going to be any error saying like, the service is not available, or some problem at the service side. So every time 100% it is going to be available for you. Even if you don't get the latest data, you still going to get some data, some response, okay. So that is what the availability means. Now when you take this as in the simple form, what does availability means? It is going to ensure, or it is going to make sure that the system is always reliable and always responsive. So to make sure all the users all the time, it is always reliable and the responsive. So that's what the availability means. Then let us look at the partition tolerance. Now what does partition tolerance means is that the system is going to continue to operate even when some part of the system is going to fail. Let's say in your whole system one part of the system is not working, or let's say it is unreachable, okay. So in that case, what it is going to do, even if there is a network failure between, there is a network node, or there is one of the database machines which is crashed, the system is going to still continue to function, and it is going to definitely respond to your query, to that particular user request, okay. So let's say even during the network outage, in the data center, wherever your applications are there, your application should continue to serve the users which are requesting with minimal disruption in that. Okay, so that is what the whole idea is about, partition tolerance. Now, everybody must having a question why CAP theorem is important. Okay, now let's try to see, like, when you see the CAP theorem, it was actually proposed by one guy, Eric Brewer. Now, what does he say? That the system, the distributed system mainly, can only guarantee there are two type of, or out of these three, there is only two which can be available or made available, right? Not all three can be achieved in this particular, according to the CAP theorem. Now, either consistency, availability, and under this particular partition tolerance, only two can be achieved. Now, what does this mean is that, let's say you are using a NoSQL database. Now, this database is not going to guarantee that you will have both the consistency and the availability at the same time. Okay, so if there is a network partition, then you have to choose which two of the most important of your application is required. Okay, now to make it very simple, let me show you one thing. Okay, so I have just given you the combinations over here, what it can be. Okay, to simplify it over here. Now, what does this mean is that, let's say the very first thing is, that is CP. What does it means? Consistency or party tolerance. Now you see there is an A missing over here. That means only two of them can be achieved. Now what does it mean is that the system is either consistent or the tolerant to the partitions, but it may not be available 100 times, 100 times of them, right? So that means that it is going to either it is going to achieve the consistency and the tolerance. That's it, right? It cannot be available over here. Then CA, the consistency and the availability. Now the system can be consistent and available, but until there, if there is a network issue, then your no partition tolerance will not be available over here, right? It's not going to happen. Then you see the AP, availability and the partition tolerance. The system will always be available. It is going to tolerate your partitions, but the system might not be in the consistent state, right? So it may return some backward data, a stale data. So that is not in your hand, right? So that's what you have to compromise when you're dealing with CAP theorem, and whenever you're dealing with such databases, you have to deal with this. Now let's come to together and recap what we have discussed. So what does consistency means? Now what does it mean is that all the user is going to get the same data at the same time. So what does mean that? Then availability, every user, every request, whatever the user is going to request, is going to definitely get a response no matter what happens to the system. Then partition tolerance, the system is going to keep on working even there is a network failure, even that some part of the application is not working. Now remember, in any distributed system, you can only have two out of these three which we have discussed in the CAP. The core idea behind this CAP system is that same thing, right? So let's wrap up. Okay, so in the CAP theorem, this is one of the fundamental concept, is that you need to understand what NoSQL database is about, and then distributed system, right? So if this video was very helpful to you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon, and also watch out my other videos. Okay, so if you haven't watched out my first series of videos on this particular series, please do check out my channel with the particular topic and the particular playlist. Okay, and also watch out topics related to Java, Spring Boot, microservices, lot of interview question series that will help you to clear your interviews and go to the next level. So thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.